So for the first bag, I have a yard of fabric, folded it in 4 halves, and I am first going to mark 5 inches on one side and cutting out. So I have a long piece for the strap of the bag and I don't need to keep joining the small pieces. Now I have a long piece of fabric about 5 inches wide and I don't need the straps to be this thick, so I'm cutting it in half. And now I have these 2 bits of long fabric, each 2.5 inches wide. Moving on for the bag, I'm taking 15 inches as width with the fabric folded into half. And 17 inches as length of the bag. Going to turn the wrong side out and double fold the fabric about 1 inch to hem the raw edges, which is going to be the top of the bag. And also I'm going to sew the sides about 1/2 inch away from the sides with a straight stitch and close the edges with a zigzag stitch just to make sure the threads don't keep coming. For the straps, all I'm doing is folding the piece wrong side out and stitching about 1 centimeter away from the sides. And once I'm done stitching, I'm adding a pin on one side of the edge and turning the right side out. After turning the right side out, I'm keeping the seam line in the middle and then sewing the sides just so that the straps look more defined and prominent. Now the next step is to add the straps. So all I'm doing is keeping both the bag and the strap wrong side up and doing a straight stitch. First in box shape and then across. Next, I added the other edges of the straps with the same method. You can of course adjust it by cutting it short or adding more length to the straps depending on how long you want it to be. Just make sure before adding it to the bag you try it on and check how long you want it to be. For the second method, I took a piece of fabric, folded it into half, just like the first one, and took the same measurements, 15 inches as width and 17.5 inches as length. And then I realized the mushrooms on one side looked upside down. So I unfolded the piece in one and cut out in half and turned one side around to make sure the mushroom was not upside down. And turning both of them wrong side out, I did a straight line which was going to be the bottom of the bag and also hemmed the raw edges which was going to be the top of the bag, just like the first one. Next, I cut out a very long piece of fabric for the straps of the bag, keeping an inch wide and hemmed the sides. Moving on, starting from the middle of the bag, which is actually going to be the bottom of the bag near the seam line, I'm adding the straps, keeping about 3 inches on the side and basically just following the seam line. And once I reached the top, I took a turn while sewing at the same time and followed the seam line. And basically I did the same thing with the other straps, and you can also pin it down just to make sure your pieces are in place and they don't slip while sewing. And once you're done adding the straps, this is what it should look like. Next, all I'm doing is turning the bag wrong side out and sewing the sides. And there we have our handmade recycling bags ready, made in 2 different methods. Very quick and easy. It's a really nice way to start sewing, especially if you are a beginner, as all the steps are pretty straightforward. I really hope it was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you next time.